Jill Doherty joins us now live with the latest from Moscow. Jill, let's start out with this line coming from President Bashar al-Assad, as reported by the Interfax news agency just about half an hour or so ago, saying if Syria were to give up its chemical weapons stash, it would be thanks to Russia, not the United States.
That's not surprising, Nina, if he did say that, because, after all, that is the viewpoint that you would expect from Syria. They have been friends with Russia, as much as you can call them friends, for quite a while. And they certainly don't want to say that the threat of military action forced their hand and forced them to admit that they actually do have chemical weapons. So, again, that is not surprising. And, you know, it plays into what narrative they have, which is they will give them up, but only because of some diplomatic initiative, not because of the threat of military force.
Yeah, let's talk about the narrative as well, because obviously the US President Vladimir Putin really wagging his finger at the United States in this op-ed piece that he's penned for the New York Times. What's the reaction there in Moscow? Because presumably Russians will be saying this is a diplomatic coup for Russia.
Definitely. I mean, you can hear that coming from, let's say, in Twitter land. There are an awful lot of people on the Russian side, you know, in the media and other commentators who are saying precisely that. In fact, there was one tweet that said, if this Russian plan works, Mr. Putin will have to give up, as an honest man, will have to give up his Nobel Prize to Vladimir Putin. So you can see that there is this certain sense that Russian diplomacy has triumphed. That's certainly the view here. Now, the second part of that, I think, would be coming from the Americans who are saying, that is, if all of this works. If it does not work, if the plan falls apart, then the onus already is on Vladimir Putin to show that this is real and workable. If it doesn't happen, then that could play to his disadvantage. So right now, it's very fast-moving. A lot of people trying to score different diplomatic points. But the game isn't over yet, and it's not right to call it a game necessarily, but this whole chapter is not over, and that's why we have the Secretary of State and the Minister of Foreign Affairs very seriously engaging in Geneva to make sure that they can figure out a realistic, practical plan to carry it out.
Yeah, if we examine the practicalities here, obviously, Jill, it could take months before this chemical weapons stash could be handed over. Nobody really would be sure whether that's the end of it. And again, it would put the United States in an interesting position vis-a-vis the rebel factions over there that have been fighting Bashar al-Assad.
Well, the rebels aren't very happy about all of this. And then from the other perspective, Vladimir Putin is raising the issue of if these weapons aren't, if things get worse, then weapons like this could fall into the hands of all sorts of nefarious groups and eventually threaten other countries. So right now, both sides, the Russians and the Americans, have teams of experts who will be looking at this, proposing from the Russian side how it would work. The Americans, and it's a huge delegation, we're looking at the list, both from the political side at the State Department and the administration, and the technical side, the people who know how chemical weapons work. And it's really a gigantic list of people who will be poring over this, trying to make sure that the plan actually is feasible.
It is such a complex issue. Jill Doherty there live in Moscow for us this hour, running us through the ramifications and also the possibilities of what's going to be on the negotiating table today.